Welcome back, Patriots, for an evening show of the Bald Brad Show. And I figured there's no better time to display the hat than today, where Elon Musk joins the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. 45, also known as 47, in his own Oval Office. And look, Elon might be wearing the dark MAGA, but we got the gold and dark MAGA today, baby. Folks, there's so much news that is out there that we're having to do not just a 6 a.m. morning podcast, which is our normal show, but now we got to start putting in the work here in the evenings to cover everything we weren't able to cover in the morning show. So we're bringing the energy, we're bringing you the news. And after we're done covering this Oval Office, we will be jumping into what the hell is going on out there, folks, because there is so much stuff. If you could support the show by hitting that like button, it'd be greatly appreciated. And by the end of it, if you feel like we deserve a subscription or a follow, absolutely free, by the way, we would love to have you on board with the rest of the Patriots in the chat. And you're damn right, Lulu. We got the hat on, baby. Here is Elon Musk. Haven't seen this yet. In the Oval Office with the boss. And damn, he's looking good today. Who's doing his hair? He's looking good. Damn you, Trump. You're looking good.
Should I check out this cool train is gone?
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be
Whoa, stop traffic. Pat over at Rumble has now become a monthly supporter. He said, screw YouTube. We're going over to Rumble. Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate you. And by the way, Trump is serious about Gaza, man. He put a time, a date, a stamp saying, if they don't return all the hostages by Saturday, all hell is gonna break loose. We'll see, because Hamas just said, hey, you know what? Deal's off now, because I guess allegedly the Israelis are shooting Palestinians. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. All I'm saying is Saturday's coming up real quick, boys. It's already Tuesday.
a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's DOGE, and I'm going to ask Elon to...
He said it. He's finally said it. Patriots, how long have we been asking for the man to say DOGE?
Deal today. It's DOGE, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time.
Billions,
we want to
Trump.
weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation.
Yes, sir.
I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So the at a high level, if you say what is the goal of DOGE, and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, we would have to, if you sorry. Tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House,
Right.
then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy.
Now, I would never say Elon's stupid, but the dude is spot on right now, baby. And thank you, Lulu, for the $2 Doge. Again, folks, if you're just joining me, I haven't seen this yet myself. What he's talking about here is our government has gotten so big to where the managerial class, in other words, the bureaucrats, these unelected people that are in government that are spending your taxpayer dollars on transing monkeys and mice in Costa Rica, are now basically committing fraud and not putting forth the will of the people in terms of how they're cutting these checks. I'm on board with this, and we're only 2 minutes in. The guy's been talking for 20 seconds, and I already know exactly what he's talking about here. There's people in government that gotta go. You gotta cut, snip, boom, bot, dee, ba boom, boom, get out of there, because boy, oh boy, is there amount of fraud that's taking place is head spinning. Here we go. I'm sorry to interrupt, folks, but there's going to be a lot of interruption going on. Hell, that's what you're here for. The commentary, the entertainment, and also the news.
So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the President, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens.
Exactly.
As opposed to a large, unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there aren't some good, there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy.
Yes, sir.
And
sir.
And if you looked at this, if you looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative.
Is that not what I just said?
This is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we also.
It's like I know what I'm talking about just a little bit, huh? Just a wee bit. It's like I read some books before. You get it, this is high school civics. It's high school civics. The Democrats, this is like, I connect the 1 to the 5 and to the 3 and it's not working.
We're going to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit. And if we don't do something about this deficit,
thanks for the compliments on the hat, folks. God bless you. Thank you, Patriots. God, we have the best community here. You guys are freaking popping off. Hit that like button if you're having a good time. Hell, sorry to keep interrupting.
He's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense.
Yeah.
But and if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
Thank you.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about $30 million,
right,
etc.
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened to USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense.
Oh, yes!
That's the honest truth of it.
Yes! So, we've been saying this for years.
We're looking
Thank
at,
you!
we won't just. If you look at, say Treasury, for example, basic control.
I don't think you guys understand where I'm at on this. I have been begging for years to hear and see what is happening right now. Hence Pelosi, exactly right. I was thinking it too, Lulu. I'm getting Tom Homan to do his thing. I'm getting Elon Musk to do audits and expose the BS that's been happening for decades. I don't know what I did to deserve this, and maybe I didn't, but Patriots, we're all in it together, baby. You're seeing a cultural shift in real time. How'd you get the 30 million? How'd you get it? You only make $50,000 a year, B.
That should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks.
Which is why you're failing the audits. The money's going to the terrorists. It's all embezzlement. You are all seeing the greatest money laundering scheme, and I mean this, in human existence. And it's all unraveling before our eyes. And it wasn't the Democrats calling this shit out. It's the conservatives, baby. It's the Republicans. It's MAGA that's calling it out. And you want to know something? The Democrats keep going, well, it was the Republicans that did it too. Well, you know what's interesting? Why aren't the Republicans fucking freaking out over this? Sorry to cuss, but why are the Republicans not freaking out and going out in the streets going, how can you do this? How can this happen? What an overreach of the executive branch. Want to know why? Because most of it is done by Democrats.
You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Elon.
So what we're talking about here, we really...
You know it's bad when it blows a genius's mind.
Just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy.
Bloated government.
When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments,
this is wild.
You don't get complaints.
We're not shocked.
But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely.
Yes,
on
thank
things
you.
that matter to the people.
What is there to complain about here, Democrats? I know we got Patriot to the chat. You know I'm not screaming at you. I'm just wondering if there's a Democrat inside or independent that can explain this stuff to me. Somebody, please. I don't know why anybody's upset with somebody looking and going, I think Democrats might have cooked the books a little bit and wrote too many blank checks over the years.
I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical, I think. It's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of Social Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old.
What?
Now, do you know anyone that's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out. So, that's a case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it, and that they receive it quickly and accurately. I'll tell you another crazy thing. So, you know, one of the things is like we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this. Obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently.
Correct.
So we're saying, well, okay, well, if people can retire, you know, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we were told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955.
It doesn't surprise me, you guys, before the IRS went electronic, they had the same crap, and they still store your information from decades ago if it's before they went electronic in their warehouses. It doesn't surprise me. I used to be on the phone with the IRS when I was still a tax accountant, trying to get people to pay their taxes from like 30 years ago. And they go, sir, sorry, we have to go to the warehouse in BFE because we don't actually have it electronically on file. This guy hasn't filed his taxes in so long, it's in some warehouse. See you in a few months when we can get to it.
So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government. And the elevator breaks down and then, sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy?
Yes, it
There's
does,
1,000
sir.
people that work on this. So I think if we can take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to, you know, boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think, you know, that's an example. Like at a high level, if you say, like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles, and so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet.
And doing it in a non-transparent
Give me a break.
way.
Give me a break.
What's your response to that criticism?
A non-transparent way. The guy's literally showing graphs of all the money laundering that's going on. What do you mean? Give me a break. I'm sorry. People.
First of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted.
Here you go.
You know, we have a majority. There should be no doubt about that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, that, you know, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for, and that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are, in effect, policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
No.
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the DOGE handle on X and to the DOGE website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the DOGE organization.
I'll give you guys a little bit of insider scoop, and the only person I really expect to know this is Jeff, is that when you're hired onto a firm in accounting, you, in a way, you do police yourself. So auditors are basically like the police of the finance world, right? We go in, we audit companies and make sure everything's legit. When it's not legit, you get a piece of paper saying it's not legit. But there's nothing stopping you from not checking off the companies that maybe you are involved in, very similar to what Elon is, that might be you might have too close of a connection with. There's a word that I'm thinking of, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. And so I would know this because when I got hired by a firm, I had to go through the firm's entire client list and see if I had some sort of connection to them. And if I did, I had to check it off, meaning I had to remove myself from doing any sort of auditing, compilations, reviews of said company. And so there was companies that I actually knew that I was connected to on a personal level that I had to remove myself from and I had to check it off, meaning I policed myself. Could I have lied about it? Absolutely. But when you have integrity, when you have trust, you will remove yourself from that. And I have confidence in Elon to do the exact same thing.
So, you know, and the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, you know, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract for some company of mine at all.
But if there is a conflict of interest when it comes to you yourself, for instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts. When it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president...
So there's questions in the chat. Yes, it could elicit some sort of bias. And so conflict of interest is something that you would want to remove yourself from, because if it got brought up in the courtroom or everything got, you're kind of, I don't want to say you're going against the disclosures. That's not what I'm saying. So I'm not talking about Sarbanes-Oxley Act or anything like that. But you want to recuse yourself from having some sort of bias or some sort of judgment that could be in favor of you auditing a company, or might elicit somebody thinking that maybe you're cooking the books on behalf of somebody else, even though you're not. I mean, it goes far beyond what I'm talking about. I'm oversimplifying it, but you want to recuse yourself so you don't have that conflict of interest. In the same way here, they're asking him, hey, who's actually holding you accountable from removing yourself in situations to where it can negatively affect the American people, but positively affect you because you didn't recuse yourself? And if you're policing yourself, there's nobody really watching to see if something like that would happen. And that's where, truthfully, faith does come into effect here, hoping that he does recuse himself. But as he mentioned, we're not talking about contracts right now. We're just merely talking about line items that are fraudulently being put out there when they shouldn't be. Thank you, George, for the $5. Rough day for me. At least I'm not bald. Damn you, George. I love your humor. You're one of the greatest we got in the chat, baby. Thank you so much, sir, for the $5 freaking dollars.
I know has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say, like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, you know, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately, you know?
Including you yourself.
Yes. But transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency, so you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watch that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, you know, because
That's
nobody
insane.
ends a contract. You got a lot of that.
That's insane.
A contract that's a 3-month contract.
If that is true right there, there needs to be lawsuits from the federal government onto said company that's still doing that. I want full back pay to the American taxpayer and to the federal government for everything that was stolen. You are stealing that then. Because if there's no services being done and the contract then should be void, said no services being done, you're basically fraudulently stealing money. What contract would be presented that would be somewhat even remotely held up in court that says, hey, you know what? Here's $20 million a year for not doing jack shit. If that's the case, which I believe it probably is happening as well, it's BS nonetheless, and it needs to be cut real quick. But I want to see a lot of back pay. I want to see some fucking people going to prison for this shit, dude. I'm sorry to cuss you guys, but this is all of us here together as a community that have been totally just reamed by our own government. And this is why Republicans and conservatives want small government. The smaller the government, the more you can hold these assholes accountable. They're tools, you guys. They're tools.
Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. You know it's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years.
It's insane.
And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years. You know?
That's
They don't
insane.
say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be corruption. It could
is
be deals
corruption.
made on both sides, you know, where the guy gets the money.
You could have a deal made on both sides and it still be corrupt.
He kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts.
Yes.
So he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is
There you
going to
go.
allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge, and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings, and he wants us to stop looking.
That's crazy.
How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million, $59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants.
I was told, and this is the kicker, I was told this wasn't happening, and God, it feels good to be right. You know, folks, when you start doing this enough and you see the comments, you see these liberals, you see these progressives, you see these slimy Democrats in your comments section, your videos go, where's the receipts? Where are you getting your news from, you conspiracy theorist? And listening to it for years, knowing you gave the receipts, showing them the proof, and now he's more proof that it's happening. Vilified!
All illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Yeah.
Mr. Musk, can I ask a question?
Well, if I may sort of just going for the president's comments, at a high level, you say, what are the two ingredients that are really...
Where's the journalism? How the hell do you have this massive scale of money laundering taking place and not a journalist over the course of decades was ever able to figure it out? Really? It just shows that they don't want to do their job. Well, we know why they didn't do their job, because USAID was paying them off. They were part of this whole corruption. The media was receiving all of our money to go along with the bullshit. The same media that wasn't concerned that Joey's head wasn't on straight, that was crapping all over the rug in the Oval Office. They didn't want to raise an eyebrow about it. They didn't want to look under the rug for just a little bit because they were complicit. The same shitheads that are in that room were complicit in all of this. That's why they're so quiet. Mr. Musk, would you recuse yourself if there was a conflict of interest?
necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion. And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And but with the support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1, and then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build. And if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you cut the budget deficit
come on, kid.
by $1 trillion, between
there
now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop.
Trump is not phased. Trump just looked down and watched X picking his nose and was like, yep, you go dig for that gold, kid. You're going to make it one day. Travis, thank you so much for the $2, brother. Always coming in hot. Appreciate you. The whole media complex should recuse themselves because of conflict of interest. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly right. Appreciate it. Folks, we worked all day. We're bringing the energy, are we not? We'd appreciate it if you hit that like button if you're having a good time here. Clearly, X is having a great time.
That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
We had no idea. We had no idea we were going to find this much, and it's open. It's not like complicated. It's
not
simple
that complicated.
stuff. It's
like
a
lot of work. Yeah.
We can't believe it. A lot of work. A lot of smart people involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere maybe $500 billion. It's crazy the kind of numbers you're talking
really crazy.
about. You know, normally when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it. You look for one that's good.
Yeah.
And you can look at the title and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. You know, the public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying all this money? This for years, this has gone on.
I mean, is this not one of the greatest duos you're going to ever see in your life? If what's being done carries forward here, tell the 2026 here, July 4th of 2026, this is go down in history as not just the greatest money laundering scheme, but also one of the greatest investigation that's ever happened in the history of the world. I mean, the exposure here is bonkers. Tarbox, Jason, thank you for the $5 over at Rumble. I almost said YouTube. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Tell him, Brad. Absolutely, sir. At least you guys know I'm not beholden by a corporation here. I'm going to say what I think, okay? I mean, we got to keep it down just a little bit. I mean, YouTube's probably losing their crap that I'm wearing this hat right now. How do we get them suppressed more? There's people still watching them. We can't stop them. No, you can't, suckers. I'm here forever.
Go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that DOGE cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the plan?
I really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need a vote of Congress to find fraud and abuse, it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud and finding all of this incompetence? Why would that happen? Why would even Congress want to do that? Now, Congress, if we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very easy vote because we have a track record now. We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. A lot of corruption.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you comply?
Well, I always abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum.
Exactly.
And it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge If you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be fraud, it should at least go to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be fraud, it should at least go to Americans. But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries.
We knew it was happening. Still pisses me off. We knew it was happening. It's still pissing me off. Your heart, I mean, we all grind, man. All of us in here work for the most part. I mean, there's some people retired. All of us bust our ass, and the government steals our money and then has the balls to send it to other countries. I've used this analogy, but not only are you paying for your own family's food, you're paying for everybody else's food, shelter, water, utilities around the freaking world. No wonder everything's expensive around here. Oh, well, in the 40s, a guy used to support his whole family by working one job. I worked 3 jobs. And I'm paying for some guy across the world that's not doing jack shit.
We should stop that.
Mr. Musk,
and this is big numbers. Talk about $100 to $200 billion a year.
Sure.
Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct these statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Oh, that just makes it better. Who is this idiot asking the question? Oh, well, it turns out you just misspoke, Elon. You didn't send $59 million in condoms, or $50 million, however much it is, to the people in Gaza. You sent it to the people in Mozambique. As if that makes anybody in here feel any better. What an idiot. Does anybody in here feel better about that? Oh, fuck. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're paying for condoms or some sort of BS that doesn't need to be paid for by us. How about there's 192 other countries that are registered in the United Nations that can pay for this crap? Why are we always footing the bill for everybody else? There's 192 other nations, like 6.5 billion fucking other people that can pay into everything else we're paying into. Why is it us footing the bill?
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were...
I'm sorry that I'm bringing the energy, folks, but 1, that's why we come here. And 2, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of it. And by the way, if we are footing the bill, where's all the videos of them saying thank you? Where's all the thank you videos? I've never gotten a card from some rando in, say, Nicaragua saying, hey, thanks for the 20 million for electricity and a house. Has anybody gotten a card? Has anybody gotten an email? Has anybody seen a video on YouTube, Rumble, Vimeo, anywhere? I haven't. Have any of you? In my lifetime, I've never seen it. I don't see people doing parades with the American flag saying, holy shit, thank you. Thank you for feeding me and my family. Thank you for the condoms. Never seen it. Just saying, but we're the bad guys, right? Oh, we're so terrible. Travis Cobb, thank you for the $20. We have a screwed up justice system right now. Thankfully, we got Bald Brad 2-a-days to keep us uplifted. Damn it, Travis, you're going to make me teary-eyed. You guys are too nice to me, man. Other than George, screw you, George. I'm kidding. You know I love you. Michelle says that's a hell of a lot of condoms. It is. It really is. Yo, can you imagine? Yeah.
Correct. So we can trust what you say.
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be correct.
Actually, I want to go back. Look at Trump's reaction. What a stupid question that is. And I know you. You ask a lot of stupid questions. Look at his face. Watch.
What you say.
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be correct.
I gotta go back. I'm so sorry. I freaking love this guy. That's what we're all thinking. Like, who the fuck asked us? What? Oh, God. Thank you, sir.
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere,
Yes,
frankly. I'm not
thank
sure
you.
that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it. But if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Exactly.
Can you talk?
You folks listening to the media and the progressive left, don't you feel like you're up there in intelligence with Elon Musk? Please don't feel like I'm belittling any of you. Some of you are probably up there in terms of IQ level with Elon. I'm sure in hell not. I'm just, dude, if I was still living in the Middle Ages, I'd be some sort of peasant, dude, filling mud huts or whatever the hell. The media are that dumb. Well, would you correct it that it's not going to Hamas and Gaza, but Mozambique? Wow, what a great fucking... I'm telling you, they try to rationalize this shit.
Talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts. Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads.
Pat brings up a great point. Have plenty of scam calls though, but never a thank you. Yeah, that is a good comment. Yes. We all get those scam calls, but never a thank you at the end. Thank you, sir.
And yeah, there are sort of checks in place. So it's not just us just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in partnership with the agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that this is what the president wants to have happen. So we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, you want us to do this? Then we'll do it.
USAID has been one of your main targets. Are you concerned at all that some of the cuts or that shutting that agency altogether may lead to diseases or other bigger problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States?
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention.
You left that, you said?
Yes, correct. And we are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. So,
do you see it as a worthy cause, USAID?
I think that there's some worthy things, but overall, if you say what was the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
I can just ask a follow-up to the Pentagon contracts. If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the...
Isn't it crazy that they keep bringing up Elon? Well, if you received a contract from the Pentagon, lady, everybody in the room, you idiots, reporters, how about you go, maybe we should start investigating the fraud. Maybe this is something we should look into. But no, they go, hey, we just want to make a correction here. Those condoms were sent somewhere else. This guy's working for free and you're there's a conflict of interest.
where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president said the other day that you might look at treasuries. Could you explain that a little bit? What kind of fraud?
Please.
And that question goes to both of you. What kind of fraud are you expecting to see, or do you see right now?
It doesn't even have to be fraud. It could just be waste. Why are these people? Is my, you guys let me know, right? It's an afternoon show. It's an evening show. We can have fun with this. And I'm reading both chats, by the way. I see everybody. So if you see me laughing or smirking, it's probably something you guys said. Is my expectation too high here for the press? Is my expectation too much? Maybe it is. Are they real? I mean, how do you grow up to be 25 to 50 years old and be this stupid? Well, they're gonna be fraud. It's just waste. It doesn't have to be fraud. It could be corruption, money laundering, waste. It could be any of those.
Now in U.S. treasuries?
Yeah, I think you mean the Treasury Department as opposed to Treasury bills, or.
You also referenced treasuries on Air Force One the other night.
Go ahead.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, really the first order of business is to make sure we're actually collecting. Sorry for this. I thought my son might enjoy this, but he's sticking his fingers in my ears and stuff. It's a bit hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that. No, the stuff we're doing with the Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. So, for example, like I mentioned, just making sure that when a payment goes out, it has to have a payment categorization code. It's like, what type of payment is this? You can't just leave the field blank. Currently, many payments, the field is left blank. And you have to describe what's the payment for, some basic rationalization. That also is left blank. So this is why, the Pentagon, when's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit? I mean, a decade ago, maybe? Ever? Really? And we want to, just in order to actually pass audits, you have to have financial information that allows you to trace the payments. And once in a while, the Treasury has to pause payments if it thinks the payment is going to a fraudulent organization.
You think Joey could do this? You think Joey could do what he's doing right now? For anybody that says that Elon Musk doesn't spend time with his kids, the fact that he's not annoyed one bit, and this kid's been on his shoulders for the last 15 minutes, and he's answering, honestly, sometimes difficult questions from the press. You think Joey could do this, folks? You think Joey could do it? I mean, granted, I don't think Trump could do it either, to be fair. But this guy clearly spends, none of these guys are phased at all. Nobody in here is phased by this kid being here, picking his nose, sticking his fingers in daddy's ear. Why? Because it's called family. Everybody gets it. And more of this that the American people gets to see, the more that even Democrats and some independents and some liberals are going to warm up to these guys, because they don't mind having kids around, because they actually have a good family. You don't see any of their kids snorting crack cocaine off a prostitute's ass, do you? But you'll see it from Joey and Hunter.
If a company or an organization is on a do not pay list, we should not pay it. I'm sure you would agree. Like, if it's quite hard to get on that payment, the do not pay list, it means that this is someone that is like dead people, terrorists, known fraudsters, that kind of thing. We should not pay them.
This guy's giving me the alien from Galaxy Quest vibes. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll see if I can pull up a clip for you.
But currently we do, which is crazy. We should stop that.
Many transactions. And by the way, hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. We have a big team. And for the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that was...
Just want to pause for a moment. No? Where'd that guy go? Hold on a second. We'll get it for you. One sec, folks. One sec. Just want to take care of this really quick. I think I did good. Oh, boom, baby. Oh, my references. Hey, thank you, Travis. Again, it's nice to see a family in the White House that doesn't shower together. Yeah, no need to read this, Brad. Oh, damn it. Well, I read it already. Like, I'm all right, enough of that.
And by the way, hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. You know, we have a big team. And for the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that's one. We're going to look at the military. We're going to look at education.
Oh, my God, thank you.
They're much
Thank
bigger
you,
areas.
sir.
But
This is like when your dad or your family member walks in the room. We're going to go on a big vacation this summer. We're going to Hawaii. We're going to be in the Bahamas. I'm going to wear my Speedo for mommy. Like, this guy, he's like, this is for every accountant, this is the dream. We're going to audit the Pentagon. We're going to audit Joey. We're going to audit the education department. Like, okay, thank you. God, thank you, sir. Protect this man at all costs, please.
the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent, and it's really corrupt. And I can't imagine a judge saying, well, it may be corrupt, but you don't have the right. You got elected to look over the country and to, as we say, make America great again, but you don't have the right to go and look and see whether or not things are right that they're paying or that things are honest that they're paying. And nobody can even believe this. Other people, law professors, they've been saying, how can you take that person's right away? You're supposed to be running the country, but we're not allowed to look at who they're paying it to and what they're paying. We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already. In what, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe. And
2 weeks, like almost $100 billion. I have to pull up what it is right now. We still have another year of this. We basically have another 50 weeks.
Much, as I said, much is incompetence and much is dishonesty. We have to catch it. And the only way we're going to catch it is to look for it. And if a judge is going to say you're not allowed to look for it, that's pretty sad for our country. I don't understand how it could even work.
The buyout program, can you personally guarantee that?
Which one?
The buyout program, the operative federal workers. Can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through September?
Well, they'll get their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass, that for 5 years you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault. He allowed this country, what he did on our border. What he did on our border is almost not as bad as what he did with all of these contracts that have come out. It's a very sad day when we look at it. I can't even believe it. But many contracts just extend, and they just keep extending, and there was nobody there to correct it. And that cannot be, I can't imagine that could be held up by the court. Any court that would say that the president or his representatives, like Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, whatever, doesn't have the right to go over their books and make sure everything's honest. I mean, how can you have a country? You can't have anything that way. You can't have a business that way. You can't have a country that way. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Wow, what a good conference. We're not going anywhere, folks. We got more news to cover, but I wanted to make sure that we started off with that bad boy because that is big news. Big news. Why don't we head over to X just for a little bit here? If you are following us on X, that's greatly appreciated. But you got Elon Musk, which we just was in the room with Donald Trump, covering the fact that there's massive money laundering taking place and that we're basically cashing checks for everybody else across the world. And it's not going to you. It's not going to making your neighborhood a better place. It's not going towards fixing our streets or more police or military or whatever it may be. Nope, it's going to some dude that's in the Taliban that's, he's living in luxury. He's living the good life. American AF says we are witnessing a legendary duo. That's exactly what we've been saying here, sir. If the bureaucracy is in charge, what meaning does democracy actually have? Correct. Vivek Ramaswamy talks about this in his book. The managerial class, these bureaucrats that were never elected, that are dictating where your money is going and how things are spent. That is bonkers. And by the way, when you have bloated government, when you have a government that's so big and you have no checks and balances in place that actually will catch this type of stuff, well, that's why you have bigger government. And that's why we need small government, so that everything's in the light. You have transparency. Here's Thomas Sowell, one of the greats. I highly recommend you read any of his books. It doesn't matter what rights you have under the Constitution of the United States, if the government can punish you for exercising those rights. And it doesn't matter what limits the Constitution puts on government officials' power if they can exceed those limits without any adverse consequences. Keyword, consequences. Nothing's going to happen to these people. And that's why somebody in that room that would have their head on straight would ask Elon Musk, are you backtracking these payments to who's actually issuing them, like the senator, the congresswoman, somebody out there in the ether, so that they could be fired and let go? Is there going to be back pay? Is there going to be any sort of prosecutorial damage here against these freaking evil scumbags that are part of the swamp that have been wasting our money for decades and decades? You sound a bit insane. Who's this idiot? Let's figure. Oh, it says everything you need to know. Space host trying to find common ground, dubbed a liberal pundit, but after net, smack talker. The country is doomed if we don't communicate. That was this person's. That was their intellectual promise right there. They're always around us. They're always around us. Well, we have some breaking news here for the USAID under fire. Inspector General dismissed after critical report. So I guess the United States Agency for International Development is facing significant changes under the Trump administration following a critical report by USAID Inspector General Paul Martin. He was fired. This action came amidst efforts to restructure or possibly dismantle USAID, which has sparked a debate on its role in the United States foreign policy, with critics and supporters offering contrasting views on its effectiveness and necessity. I don't even understand what the conversation is about this. Get rid of it. It's waste. And look, if something was so important, if it was so vital to have in there, then have Congress reissue it. It's not that hard. So here you go. I guess this looks like a press conference for that.
Have you spoken to President Trump about USAID? And what do you think about the way that agency has been dismantled without much notice, ability to plan around the world?
Well, USAID, under scrutiny, did poorly. I have been a big advocate for soft power. I'm a pretty hawkish guy, but I've been in charge of the 150 account, state foreign ops account, making sure the State Department is funded. To the men and women of the State Department, you're warriors in your own way. You serve in very dangerous places. I want you to have secure embassies and secure consulates. You represent the best of America. USAID is an agency that let us all down. I've been advocating for soft power for my entire time up here.
No, Lindsay, you guys in Congress let us down, because it's you guys that have the keys to the purse that allowed us to get to the point of $36 trillion in debt. This goes everywhere. Yeah, I've been hounding Democrats a lot, but I'm not going to leave Republicans out of the mix here or there. Mostly it's Democrats' fault because they want to do more wasteful spending. Republicans have been doing it as well for the last decade or so, but that's not our traditional values, right? Republicans don't want bigger government. They want smaller government. Republicans traditionally have fiscal conservatives a part of them, like me. But yeah, I'm not going to let Lindsay get away with that one.
And what I have seen makes me sick to my stomach. I am for helping starving people. I am for clean water. I am for making sure that we have ability to combat China and Africa, that we show up with the best of America. But Samantha Powers has been just texting me morning, noon, and night. Samantha, look in the mirror. The reason USAID is going to cease to exist as it did before is because it should. I can't go
I agree with that.
And say, this is soft power. Operas, whatever agenda you got, needs to be focused on making America safer and prosperous for working with people. So USAID is a victim of their own excesses.
It's a little bit too broad for me. I wanted more specifics on that. You have other people in the mix here. Doesn't this look like, holy crap, look at this guy here. Hold on a second. Tell me that doesn't look like a different version of Mayor Lori Lightfoot of Chicago. Hold on. Hold on. No. Shh. Hang in there. 1 second. 1 second here. Boop-a-doo, boop-a-doo, ba-dig-it, 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 ba-doop, boop, 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 ba-doo. I'll get you guys 1 second. Hold on. I got you. Just hold tight for me, folks. Yep. Oh, nope. We didn't want that one. Damn it. I want this one. Hold on. Bear with me. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Did Lori Lightfoot? Yeah, the clone zone. There you go. Or that's Lori Lightfoot with hair plugs and somebody had a little trans surgery. Woohoo! This is me. Quick time pull up. If you look up, Google Lori Lightfoot yourself, the former mayor of Chicago, you'll see what I mean. Yes, Beetlejuice. All right. What else we got here? The Inspector General of USAID was fired today, a day after his office released a report critical of the impact of the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle USAID in their reporting. So all about that, all about people getting fired. You also have Caroline Leavitt, which is Donald Trump's press secretary, basically a version of Kayleigh McEnany, coming out and saying President Trump is restoring common sense, folks, not just the United States of America, but to the entire world. Everybody's looking at the United States going, oh, it's nice to see that America is basically putting on their pants again and throwing away the skirt.
I don't think it helps them at all. So I hope that they keep saying the things they are saying and protesting outside of these federal government buildings that have been, again, ripping off the American taxpayers. I mean, you had Senator Chris Coons, Democratic senator, actually defending sending millions of dollars to Iraq to fund a Sesame Street program. I bet you the vast majority of Americans don't want their tax dollars going to funding Sesame Street in Iraq. What does that do for hardworking American families who have been struggling with the cost of living because of the Biden-Harris administration? It does nothing. And President Trump is restoring common sense, not just to Washington, D.C., not just to the United States of America, but to the entire world. And you're already seeing the effects of that ring. And the American people are very happy with what President Trump is doing at that White House every single day.
Were you guys reading this up here? Can we go back for a second? $4.9 million to invest in Guatemalan entrepreneurs who are working on climate resilience. You just wasted $5 million right there. Completely wasted. There's no rate of return on that. How does that benefit us in any way, shape, or form? Money laundering. What else we got? $7.2 million for safeguarding civic rights and media freedoms in Afghanistan. Oh, that's lovely. Do you notice it's just throwing money out the window? Millions of dollars at a time here. $40 million to galvanize the international community to come together to prevent the collapse of the education system in Afghanistan. What education system? What education system? $12.8 million for African, Latin American, and Asia resistance to climate. So all this climate change stuff. There's another 13 million folks right there. Could have built a road. Could have maybe sent that to people in North Carolina. Basically everything above this. How much money are we talking about here? 5, 13, 53, 66, 100 plus. So right now we're at $100+ million just right there alone. Huh. 53.8 million for biodiversity and climate change consulting services in West Africa. No, this is legit. This is just unbelievable. No, it's all useful. Yeah, it's going to help all you guys. Yep. 27.4 million to support South Africa development community projects to adapt and respond to climate change. So under the social justice agendas of climate change. We're just going to throw out 66 million for Iraq access to justice programs. Are you kidding me? 100.5 million to improve the conditions of conflict affected rural households in sustainable manner in Colombia. Wow. 100 million to Deloitte Consulting to support the Power Africa program in Nigeria. 29.5 million to implement sustainable economic growth, biodiversity, and global climate change migration to Honduras. I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. This is what I want to highlight too. You guys see this right here? This is called a real Secretary of Defense. So Pete Hegseth is in Germany and he's training with the Green Berets, dude, and is skipping the Munich Security Conference to interact with American troops throughout Europe instead. I would much rather talk to troops than go to cocktail parties. What a badass dude. Damn. Tell me you don't get goosebumps by me just talking about it. And it ain't about me. It's about Pete. The dude's out there lifting weights, putting in the time with troops. That's what you need from a leader. I mean, bro, this is giving me some Revolutionary War vibes right now. Getting out there with the troops, suffering it out, breaking a sweat a little bit. Look at him. Look at this fucking dude. Talk about all-American. Ladies, simmer down. I know we bring out Laura Trump and Ivanka Trump, but you all need to settle down this time. This is for you, ladies. This is for you. We got a lot of women in the chat, by the way. We got a lot of women patriots. Boys, give them their time, okay? Shib, you were talking about Laura Trump's legs and everything before. I remember. Simmer down, Dizzy. Jeff, calm down. Who else is in here? I think Angel's a woman, though. We got Angel as a girl. George. Look at that hunk, huh? Jesus. A big dog, man. Look at the freaking size of this guy. I mean, look at that neck. Can you imagine trying to choke that guy out? It's like fucking shit. He won't. I can't do it. He won't. He won't. It won't go down. Can't choke that guy out. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now, I don't know who uploaded this shoddy picture. Somebody needs to talk to them. Send them an email. You're welcome for the eye candy, ladies. Yes, I got you. It's not all about us all the time. Zappy loves it. Zappy loves it. Joanne, easy. Settle down, girl. Settle. Lulu, Q, easy. Easy. Down. Down, Danielle. Michelle, easy. I see you. I got to give you guys something. So shout out to P. Here's another one. I know you guys like that. This one's mostly for George, okay? It's not really for the ladies. Got my jab in, sucker! George is like, I want to lick up the sweat off his chest. Hey, that's us. Here's something I wanted to get to in the show this morning that I wasn't able to get to, and that's Tom Homan really put in the work here. So here's Tom Homan talking about how it's been difficult with sanctuary cities, but we're basically going to keep everything coming. And then I want to get to more stuff with Tom Homan here, but we'll let him do his thing.
They're putting up every roadblock possible, rather than arresting the bad guy in the county jail. It takes one agent to arrest a bad guy when they gets arrested and put in the county jail. We got to send the whole team to the neighborhood. So it's very difficult in sanctuary cities, but we're going to keep coming. What are we doing about sanctuary cities? I'm going to double the manpower in those sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities, if we can't get them in their homes, we'll get them in a place of employment. We're going to have large-scale worksite enforcement operation. So we're going to send more resources. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep coming. We're going to keep coming with more. We're going to increase the targeting in those cities. We're going to give full steam ahead on sanctuary cities. Sanctuary cities are becoming the priority. Why? Because of protection. They're protecting public safety threats and national security threats. So we're going to double manpower. We're going to double operations. We're going to double targeting. We're coming full bore, and they're not going to stop us. I'm taking this seriously. I don't sleep well at night because I'm afraid of the people that are walking the streets here every day because sanctuary cities are protecting them. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals, Bottom line. So we're going to do everything we can to find them, regardless of what it takes. We got a strong president of the White House that's giving us all the authority we need. We're coming.
At least it's clear messaging, but it's not really, I don't want to say it's not turning into results, because it is. But one thing that's going on is there's a lot of leaks that are going on in the White House right now. And I should say the White House. Let me backtrack that. There's leaks going on about the ICE operations that are taking place. And it did come out today that allegedly the leaks are coming from the FBI. And that is why we need Kash Patel in, like, now. Now, somebody did mention, I forgot who it was, forgive me, it was a little bit earlier in the chat, said that the Epstein list is supposed to come out in 10 days. Now, I haven't heard that. I know that the plan is for it to come out. But allegedly, from what Kash Patel said on a podcast, is that it is the FBI director that has access and is holding basically he's holding the list themselves. So we need Kash in. That needs to happen like now. But also the fact it's not good that the FBI is leaking crap. And again, it just makes the FBI look bad once again.
Sorry, Tom Homan. Tom, where are these leaks coming from?
Well, look, we think it's coming from inside. And we know the first leak of Aurora is under current investigation. We think we identified that person under investigation right now.
Oh, I didn't know that.
California leak. Secretary Noem, she's correct. Some of the information we're receiving.
Oh, that's not. There we go. Okay.
Lead toward the FBI. But I talked to Deputy Attorney General all this weekend. They've opened up a criminal investigation, and they have promised that not only this person lose their job and lose their pension, they're going to go to jail. They're going to criminally prosecute. So we're all over it. We got
Tom Homan. Tom.
I don't like that there's stuff being leaked out from the FBI. And as everybody's mentioning, we need Kash Patel in there now. Not just the fact of I want a lot of this stuff that the FBI has been holding on to for years, but I also want that stuff for my knowledge about what's been going on. So that's a little bit of Tom Homan right there. I do have other news regarding that. And we did show this really briefly this morning. And if you're just new to the show, we do have a morning podcast, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we go over a bunch of news like this. I try to make it rapid fire, so you're getting a lot of the main headlines of the day that you need to know about going into your work day or going into other podcasts for the day, since we're such an early show. But follow us, hit that like and subscribe button, but also hit that subscribe and follow button. It's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you a dime. If you want to join us, yeah, we do have memberships. We have a book as well. And we have a website. We got all that stuff, folks. But you just watching is what's most important. We got a lot of people watching right now. Remember, it's not just about YouTube. We also got people watching over Rumble. We got people watching on X, and a lot of people watch the show after. So like I mentioned, we get about 24,000 downloads a month just on our main podcast, which is it's insane to think about, by the way. Meet the criminal illegal alien. So we were going through this earlier today, and I just want to cover a little bit more here. You have Chicago arrested criminal illegal alien and Mexican citizen is convicted of homicide and sentenced to 216 months in prison. Oh, okay. Huh. ICE agents captured this dude, an illegal alien and citizen of Guyana, who has been convicted of murder and sentenced to 5 years in prison. No. Hey, stop it, patriots. We can't say that these people should be deported. You can't say that. You could lose your job over it. These are people that should be allowed to stay in the interior of the country and take your job and siphon funds from the taxpayer. These are great individuals. I don't know what you're talking about. Who cares if they committed homicide and murder? No, not alleged. No, excuse me. These are convicted people. Yeah. No, these are good guys. Yes. These are the people that are going to make your community safer. These are the guys that came here from Kamala Harris because of climate change. No, there's a famine and drought. They couldn't get a drink of water in Guatemala or Mexico or wherever the hell else they're coming from. Guyana. They're here. No, you can't say that, Jason. No, we were told by Democrats they just need a chance, you guys. Come on. I think we're being too harsh in the chat here. No, you're being too harsh. No. They deserve rental assistance. They deserve 3 meals a day that's catered to their country of choosing. Come on, guys. The legal services, you should foot the bill for it. What do you mean? It's common sense, according to Democrats, that we should house these people and keep them here. I was told by Democrats maybe we should make them teachers, babysitters. No, they're good guys. Obviously, I'm being facetious, right? Obviously, I'm joking. You got to get them the hell out of here. Take them to Gitmo by tonight. See you later, suckers. ICE arrested 11,000 illegal aliens prior to this weekend. When I say that you can lose your job nowadays for saying you want to deport criminals, murderers, sex traffickers, people that raped little babies and children, you will lose your job in the state of California if you say stuff like that. I am, hand to God, I am dead serious. I'm as serious as a fucking heart attack, you guys. I am not joking. When I say stuff like that, you can lose your job, your entire career for saying, yeah, I think we should get rid of people that have been convicted of murder, that cut off a bunch of people's heads and then raped their families when they were dead. No, yeah, you lose your job over that. Oh, yeah. And if you think I'm kidding, I can't be any more serious on the statement that I just said. No, it's good. You think, oh, here's another receipt. Musk says FEMA spent $60 million housing illegal immigrants in luxury hotels just last week. I was told it wasn't happening. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. Just making it up. Yeah. I pulled it out of my ass. I said, I woke up one morning like Joe, in the same way Joe said, let's pull out of Afghanistan. I woke up one morning and said, let me fabricate an entire story and manipulate thousands of people that watch my show for the benefit of the Republican Party and the conservative agenda. No, this is good. Money well spent. Yeah, no, God forbid you have a natural disaster. God forbid there's people in North Carolina that can't get a bite to eat and live in a fucking tents in the middle of mud, but it's okay. Now send them millions of dollars. That's fine. Yeah, send these people millions of dollars. That's good. It's money well spent. Elon Musk said Monday that his Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, discovered that FEMA spent nearly $60 million to house illegal immigrants in luxury New York City hotels last week. No, guys, come on. No. You thought this was the culmination of 4 years. No. This was in 1 week. 1 week. The DOGE team just discovered that FEMA spent and sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal immigrants. Sending this money violated the law and is in gross insubordination of the president's executive order. If you're wondering, Brad, didn't you cover this? Yes, we have covered this, but we're covering it again because it is so bonkers that Democrats are salivating at the mouth. They love this stuff. They love wasting your money. How do we know that? We just showed the clip of press secretary and the hundreds of millions of dollars that was spent on climate change and some dude and gal that you've never even heard of in your entire life. And then when you say something, when you say anything about it, well, you get chastised for it. Patricia Heaton slams FEMA for leaving North Carolina in tents, putting illegals in ritzy hotels. Correct, though. And if you say this, what will happen in the comment section? Democrats will come after you. How could you say that, you bigot? You're racist. Well, I could say it because I think we should take care of Americans first. You know, people that are actually paying into the system. So God forbid when something happens, they have a safety net to uplift them. But when you have people all across the globe that aren't paying into our safety net, but are siphoning from it, yeah, I got a little bit of a problem with that because that's called stealing your money. So those poor folks in North Carolina who were told by Mayorkas there wasn't enough money to help them had to sleep in tents all this time? I'm so sorry that you're suffering, but hey, there's some guy in Gaza that's a convicted murderer that needs to be uplifted because of DEI. Sorry. Oh, you're a white dude? Oh, your entire house just washed away? Oh, fucking sorry. Not a big deal. We got some illegal alien to put up in some hotel rooms. Yeah, we don't have the money. Where'd I get the $60 million from? It doesn't matter. Who's going to audit us? Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. In October, Mayorkas claimed that reporters that FEMA was running out of money and didn't have the resources it needed to for the end of the season. Here's some fucking crazy shit. He was probably right. If we were to look at both sides of the coin, I mean, he could be wrong, right? Clearly we do have the money, but we also don't have the money because the Democrats wanted to send it to everybody else across the globe. Oh, the climate change. Some guy stubbed his toot. We're going to make sandals for people. Last month, under former President Joe Biden administration, dozens of victims from hurricanes were kicked out of the hotel rooms they were staying in as their FEMA-sponsored vouchers expired. Oh, you couldn't write this. Sorry, vouchers expired. Why? Because we sent $60 million for 1 week to somebody else. So fucking this ass backwards, man. Holy crap. And if you say something, you lose your job. Yeah, because that's how they censor you. They will cripple you until you can't pay your bills anymore. And when you can't pay your bills, then they shut you up. What a waste of freaking money. What a waste of money. These people. Just sickens me. Just really sickens me. Well, speaking of the FBI, we're going to make a quick transition here. This is more for the boys as well. We got Anna Paulina Luna. Look, I took care of you guys with the military. Now we get Anna Paulina in the mix here. Okay. FBI uncovers hidden JFK files after Trump's order. Get cash in. I need to see it. I'm a big conspiracy theorist guy. I don't necessarily believe in them, but anybody that watched Spooky Adventures, we have another channel, believe it or not, where we explore the paranormal, the unexplained, and the supernatural. We haven't done a video in a while, but it's still up. We got like 100 videos over there. I love this stuff. Like, I'm into like JFK. Mind you, I actually just bought a book at Barnes & Noble last night about JFK. I want to see it all, man. I want all this released. So she's coming out with a big news conference very soon. I think, is it Saturday? Maybe can somebody find that, confirm that? If not, I'll try to get it up in real time if I can. She's going to have a massive press briefing thing soon. I don't know if it's about UFOs or the JFK files or Epstein list, but she's going to be doing something, and she announced that, oh, yes, she is, Danielle. We'll get there. Hey, simmer down, girl. All right, so it says the FBI has recently discovered approximately 2,400 previously unreviewed records related to the assassination of John F. Kennedy. This disclosure comes in response to an executive order issued by President Donald Trump aimed at the release of JFK assassination files. The documents were not previously handed over to a board responsible for reviewing and potentially releasing such records. How do you just fumble that? How do you just fumble going, oh, yeah, we found them. Yeah, after like 60 years, we didn't know they're. No, they were under John's filing cabinet that was under this desk that he had in the basement of the Pentagon, 60 floors into the earth. So here she is. Here she is.
Priority list is Epstein, 9/11.
Our first investigation will be announced, but it's going to be covering on a thorough investigation into the John F. Kennedy assassination. And I can tell you, based on what I've been seeing so far, the initial hearing that was actually held here in Congress was actually faulty in the single bullet theory. I believe that there were two shooters, and we should be finding more information as we are able to gain access into the SCIF, hopefully before the files are actually released to the public.
What's your priority list? Is Epstein, 9/11?
Our first investigation will be announced.
Still waiting on that. Let me see if I can find it for you, folks. Forgive me, but there was an announcement. I think I did post it on X, and that's why you want to follow me over there. Here's my information down here at the bottom. I don't know, is it visible? Right here. Bald Brad 1776. You know what am I doing? Why am I making you guys put an effort when you don't need to? We could just put it in the chat there. If you want to follow me, I do post on there quite a bit here. Let me see if I can find it. She did post it. I got all giddy like a little schoolgirl about. I knew it. I knew it. I told you I did something good. Here she is.
Biggest things that I'm constantly hearing from people, and it's not just me, but I think it's been generations of congressmen, is that there was a lack of transparency in the federal.
Settle down, Rob, okay? Settle, boy. Simmer.
Federal government, and I think when you have that, it's actually dangerous, because that's where, conspiracy theories will form. That's where people will then lose, I think, sight and hope for their future, of their nation, and then their government. And so in an effort to combat that, I have been pushing, and I'm joined now by my colleagues and have been entrusted by the Speaker of the House, by the Chairman of Oversight, and hopefully the White House to be aiding in transparency for this country. So that's your hint.
I want to see what's going on here. I want to know. I want to figure out what's going on with her and what she's hiding, because she's doing the UFO stuff too. I want to figure out what's happening with that. Big time. Big time. Well, we'll hang out just for a little longer, folks. I'm curious to see what's the breaking news. I can't give you everything because, well, we gotta cover it tomorrow morning as well. We got a show tomorrow. We're not going anywhere. Oh no, sirree. I know YouTube would love us to quit. I know YouTube would love for us to bow out, but we're not going anywhere. No, sir. No, we're not. So Trump orders DOGE to lay groundwork for large-scale government staff cuts. This is what I want to see. This is actually breaking right now. This is a little bit as an echo to what we were watching earlier, where you had, let's see if it wants to pull up for us. It's not really wanting. It doesn't want to pull up. Well, that sucks. Screw you, Fox. We didn't want it anyways. Well, there's going to be massive groundwork layoffs. We could at least do this. We could post it, right? We could do that. Yeah, there we go. Trump signs order instructing DOGE to massively cut federal workforce. Order aligns with DOGE's workforce optimization initiative. And that goes into kind of what you saw with Elon Musk talking about, or I should say what he did with X of, hey, there's this company's bloated. We don't need all these people. Fire thousands of people. We don't need them. It's the same thing with government. We don't need a lot of people. Now, it sucks when you're talking about good people doing a great job and they got to be let go because their job is basically meaningless. But it needs to happen. It needs to happen. Ted Cruz is also warning to illegal immigrants who flee Border Patrol. He's not mincing words here, folks. The man's putting down the law. He says here, is launching a new push to target illegal immigrants who flee from law enforcement, named after a Border Patrol agent killed pursuing illegal aliens. Cruz is reintroducing the Senate version of the Agent Raul Gonzalez Officer Safety Act. The bill is named after Border Patrol agent Raul Gonzalez, who was killed in a vehicle crash in Texas in 2022 while pursuing illegal immigrants. The bill would make failure to yield to a Border Patrol agent a felony. Holy Lord, there you go, Ted. Ted ain't messing around. Ted ain't messing around at all. Ted's had enough. A felony punishable up to 2 years in prison, not jail, but prison. If a Border Patrol agent sustains injuries during a vehicle pursuit of an illegal immigrant, the offender may receive a sentence ranging from a minimum of 5 years to a maximum of 20 years in prison. And that's where we send them to El Salvador, where you had the president there opening up his prisons to us on a discount, which is great. In cases where an agent loses their life during the pursuit, the bill prescribes a minimum sentence of 10 years in prison, extending to a potential life sentence. You know, a lot of people aren't for the death penalty, actually. I am, believe it or not. I think you should be put down, because if you're going to kill somebody like that, especially if you're an illegal alien or some sort of criminal or gang member, and you're going to kill somebody and take their life, you should be put down like an animal, because you are one. Each of these offenses also may carry a fine of up to $250,000. It further requires that the Department of Justice report to Congress about how often they are prosecuting illegal aliens for endangering Border Patrol agents. They're already shooting at them. They're already putting down gunfire at Border Patrol. Now's the time to do something right now, and I like this. But will Congress pass it? They should. We have all of it. So we'll see what Republicans decide to do, because sometimes they're idiots. Travis Cobb with $1. I know it may be boring for others, but I would love to hear your thoughts on teachers unions and how the future could/should change in regards to teachers and the education system. Yeah, I don't believe. So earlier I talked about public sector unions, that I don't think they go for the will of people. I think public unions that are paid for by the taxpayers are a net negative benefit to the American people. So I don't think teachers should be a public union, and I don't think that they advance the agenda of the American people. I think it should be privatized, where you get to negotiate your contract. There's a lot of bad teachers, a lot of good teachers, a lot of teachers that work hard. There's teachers that teach tough concepts. There's teachers that teach easy concepts. So it's not fair to me, as somebody that teaches a extremely difficult concept, where somebody, teaches reading or whatever, and they get paid the same rate as I do. The teachers' salaries are very socialized, where it's just based on years of experience. I think it completely needs to be revamped. What I will say, though, is teachers also don't get paid enough money. And that's coming from somebody. I'm telling you, I've done a complete 180 on that. You need to, I listen to John and Ken on AM 640 in the state of California. When I was an accountant, I used to be bewildered that some teachers were making $120,000 plus benefits. Bewildered. What I could say is somebody that used to be in accounting is now a teacher. Teachers 100% do not even get paid nearly enough. Nearly enough. And I'm somebody that was one of the biggest advocates against teacher pay raises when I was an accountant. But because now I've been behind the lines, I've seen the work. Definitely need pay raises. What's also happened is, there's a lot. That's a whole show, to be honest, Travis. But yeah, I'm not for teacher unions. I'm not part of a teacher union. So now you don't have to pay into the teachers union. You can actually opt out of it. So I put my money where my mouth is. In public schools, you can opt out of paying into the union. That's something I did. I think I registered for a little bit and paid in for a tiny bit. Then I was like, what the hell am I doing? So I got out of it. In general, I don't think public unions, again, benefit people much. Again, that's a oversimplification, but that's kind of where I'm at on things. So, well, folks, I think we'll end it there. I think I got through the articles that I wanted to get through, the news I wanted to get through today. And the big thing was checking out Elon Musk in the Oval Office. If you're new here, hey, why don't we do this in the chat before we end? Who is new here? I don't know who is or who isn't. I see a lot of the regulars in the chat, but if you're new here, let us know in the chat. We would love to highlight you here and welcome you to our community. So we got, again, everybody you're seeing in the chat is pretty much regulars. They're in here in the morning and in the afternoon. They're freaking phenomenal people. And let us know if you're new here saying, hey, first time or just joining. And we would love to highlight you. And if you're not in the live chat and you're seeing this later on recording, then let us know in the comment section. And we would love to heart you and highlight you and just welcome you. And I think that's really important. Jeff, you're not new. Get out of here. You're not new. You have a badge. So many people are saying congrats, Autumn. Am I missing something? I missed something. Where's Autumn? What am I missing? Oh, here we go. Autumn said, my daughter just called me. She's having twins. Congratulations. Heck yeah. Autumn's daughter is having twins. Congratulations. Rob's a regular. Rob, I know you. Rob's a regular. Rob always, I see the last name Stewart, and I always think of Stuart Little when I see your name. So I never told you that before, but now you know it. I know Danielle. Danielle emails me. I know all of you guys. Come on. All right. Well, it looks like there's nobody new. I guess we're just all regulars. Congratulations, Autumn. What a blessing that is. Seriously. That's amazing to hear. Bringing life into the world, and you get to be there to witness it. That's great. And make sure you send your daughter congratulations from the Bald Army. Really. Everybody's excited about that. That's great to hear. Well, I will see you all tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Tomorrow's gonna be a little bit more of a shorter show, probably about 45 minutes because I have a work meeting in the morning and I got to make sure I get there on time. So it won't be an hour long, but about 45, 50 minutes. And, be there, be square. With that being said, take care of one another. I'll see you tomorrow here on The Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.